The year continues to be bleak for Hollywood and cinemas, though Bad Boys 4 has breathed a little life into the box office this weekend. It's still another in a long trend of franchise films that are wearing their welcome thin. While there have been a few good movies, it's been rare for something truly unique to come along. Every now and then, though, a perfect storm comes along, a rare blend of unique concept and up-and-coming filmmaker gel together to create a sleeper hit or overlooked gem. This week's film, The Watchers, is not one of those instances. Based on the novel of the same name by A.M. Shine and written and directed by Ashana Shyamalan, daughter of the infamous M. Night Shyamalan, in her feature film directorial debut. The Watchers is an occult horror film loosely based on Irish folklore. Shine, the novel's author, is himself from Ireland and has released 2 novels so far, both of which are rooted in Irish folklore. The concept of a modern horror setting using supernatural elements and beings from such lore could have made for a unique and unsettling film. Starring Dakota Fanning as Mina, a young woman estranged from her twin sister who finds herself in the middle of the Irish wilderness, in a place no one who has entered has ever returned from. In the middle of this area is a single structure called only the Coop, where Mina encounters 3 occupants who have also been trapped, unable to leave. Informed of other beings who come to visit the Coop every night, the tenants of the Coop must put themselves on display nightly as they are observed through a 2-way mirror, never able to see their observers, until Mina begins to devise ways to escape, and the truth of the mythical beings is revealed. The Watchers may not be the worst film I've seen this year, but it's certainly one I will never revisit. It's lackluster in nearly every way, offering only an interesting premise that is destroyed by its own narrative and plot holes. Folklore and supernatural stories of any kind generally always pique my interest, especially when it involves lore from other countries and cultures I may not be familiar with. Nothing is more human than carrying forward old legends and lore from generation to generation, reshaping them into something new and modern while remaining faithful to the history of these shared stories. Ashana Shyamalan in her film The Watchers does nothing clever or unique with the story and does nothing to bolster, honor, nor promote this folklore to a wider audience. The film expects its audience to accept all of its plot points and details at face value, offering paltry explanations for things or pulling explanations from thin air without explaining how characters came by such knowledge. Some of this is due to the nature of the film's twist, which does explain certain aspects of how the film's primary antagonist knows what they know, but it's so poorly built up that by the point it's revealed, you've already guessed the twist and no longer care. It's not just the plot that is shallow. While there is some attempt at making Mina an empathetic character with a tragic past, the cast generally lack depth. Mina, who is given the most development as main character, is not particularly likable, something that is intentional at first, but she is never given the growth and development to become likable by the film's end. Everyone else exists to either further the plot or to be fodder for the creatures to kill. Ashana has seemingly followed in her father's footsteps in her failure to adapt and make a modern fairy tale / folktale. I have not read the novel the film is based on, but would hope it has better build-up of its plot and less plot holes surrounding how everything that happens in the film even came to be. Having worked as second unit director on M. Night's last 2 films, Old and Knock at the Cabin, Ashana's style so far feels exactly like those movies. The Watchers easily could fit with those films as a terrible trilogy of poor adaptation and modern mythology that is shallow, laughable, and entirely unentertaining. She has retained all of M. Night's worst qualities as filmmaker, and being her first solo film, it's not clear if she has at least any of his good qualities. The Watchers does not bode well for the career of Ashana Shyamalan, but being the daughter of a still mostly famous director with his own production company, I'm sure this will not be her last movie. Uninspired, poorly written, poorly acted, and all around a squandered opportunity to blend old folklore into a modern horror thriller, The Watchers is a film that's only saving grace is that it only cost $11 million to make. So while New Line and Warner Brothers will probably break even, The Watchers will barely be a blip in Hollywood history. I give The Watchers 1 out of 4 stars.